You were wrong about Dominic Solanke. Yeah, I've said it because after another stellar game for Tottenham Hotspur against Aston Villa, big Dom Solanke put his mark on the game and actually showed the rest of the Premier League he is a top striker. He can do any type of finish you want, and it's his off the ball work, which we will talk about today, which sets him apart from other strikers in the Premier League. So today on the Sunny Talk Spurs YouTube channel, we're going to be saying why you were wrong about Dominic Solanke. And if you are new to the Sunny Talk Spurs YouTube channel, then drop us a like, hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell, and let me know in the comments down below, is Dominic Solanke one of the best strikers in the Premier League? Yes, it's some bold statements, but a lot of people have got this one wrong. I hugely believe it because we have to go back a little while, and this was, way back when last season, where I, off the back of a conversation with my own dad, believed that the striker that Tottenham should have signed or should be signing was Dominic Solanke. Over the likes of Ivan Toney, Victor Gyökeres, to name but a few. And, the thumbnail is on screen right now to prove it. I'll put the date as well if you don't believe me. But I'll even link the video. You can go back and watch it and see some of the stuff I was saying about Big Dom Solanke at the time. I've done a few videos since he signed as well, sort of saying what it tells us about the football club and how, even though he hasn't scored a goal yet, why he is so vital to Tottenham Hotspur. But after his displays against Villa and the two spectacular finishes, I've got to talk about it again. I just can't let this one go. And also, this video, I was waiting for a moment like this to happen for Dom Solanke because it means I can play this clip and we can all have a good laugh.
Ten Hag wasn't in trouble. There'd be a lot more chat about Ange, I think, if Ten Hag wasn't the story right now.
You think Ange Postecoglou?
Yeah, Solanke is a big lump. You spent how much on him?
That's an insane thing to say.
He's useless. You spent 60 million on him.
He's not useless at all.
He's like a Bournemouth striker.
So
that's it.
To this, what you want.
So fair play to Flav there because he really defended the honour of Dominic Solanke, and it goes to show that I don't think many rival fans really have been watching Spurs this season up until this point to see the work that Dominic Solanke has done for the football team, especially off the ball. It's such a breath of fresh air to what we've had in the past because obviously we had Harry Kane at the team and that was really good. He was, the best striker in the world at one point. He still probably is. And he would drop deep, he'd distribute and he'd finish with aplomb. He's, our highest goal scorer ever at all time at Spurs, and also second only behind Alan Shearer in the Premier League. And we've tried, Richarlison, but is he prolific enough? Son through the middle was a bit hit and miss. But Dominic Solanke is the focal point that Spurs have been crying out for since Harry Kane left the club. And now in the Premier League, after 8 appearances, he's now got 4 goals, as well as a goal he also scored in the Europa League. So in all competitions, his numbers are actually looking quite good. But it's his other numbers that are always impressive. He's known for being a pressing striker. That was one of the big sells for Tottenham and Bournemouth in the transaction. They wanted a striker who would be able to close down defenders and implement that pressing style that Ange Postecoglou is famous for. And we saw that against Villa. We did not give them a sniff, especially in that second half. It was the good work from him off the ball, and also the way he can pick it up and hold up the ball as well is really important to bring the wingers into play. And we saw, with the second goal as well, how, he did really well in, I've always said between the goalposts, that's where Solanke comes alive. And he just was able to tuck it away past Emi Martinez. And the other goal, the running, that was such an underrated goal. And the chip to take it over Emi Martinez as well is one of the best goals I've seen this season. And that sounds like a bit of a hot take, but the movement to stay on side, the chip, it's all the elements of it. And the pass from Dejan Kulusevski is obviously out of this world as well. But even what you got to look at with Solanke, and I've pulled this up from statmuse.com, is that, after his 2 goals, he had 5 shots and 3 on target and 19 touches with 7 of them in the box. So it does show that Solanke is a potent striker. I said this because what really annoyed me about the arguments that some people came to the table with about Solanke is he's a one-season wonder. He's only done it once. He did it for Bournemouth, which I think is a big disrespect to Bournemouth because we've seen Evan Nilsson has gone in there and actually looked like a good striker in their system. So it's not a case of, I feel like it's really harsh on Bournemouth. Let's just leave it there. But Solanke has shown that even in a system that's going to create more chances, and even though I was saying this during the first half in a few WhatsApp groups, I just didn't think we were delivering for him. There was moments where in the early second half where he had a shot and it was a bit tame, but you could see it was there. And then afterwards he puts the 2 goals away and people aren't having these conversations anymore. But I just find it funny because people say about the price tag, people say about the English tax, but this transfer made a lot of sense for a number of reasons. I think the fee wasn't too much. I think that made a lot of sense for an English striker who's just scored that many goals. And I wanted him over Tony and Gyökeres because he's more proven, he's going to press, and you just don't know that from the other two. Ivan Toney, obviously gone to Saudi Arabia, and Gyökeres will probably get a big move, but for an even more extortionate fee of probably around the 100 million mark. But moving on, there's been a few clips that I've seen actually about Dominic Solanke. You know, some from a bit further back and some more recently that I just wanted to reflect on and, you know, give my opinions on what they had to say. And first of all, is Dominic Solanke's post-match interview that he gave with the in-house media.
Dom, first question. The amount of work that you've put in over the past 3-4 games without necessarily getting your awards, does that feel like total comeuppance for the amount of work that you're doing for the team?
Yeah, it does. Obviously, I like to work hard for the team. We need to do whatever we can individually to help the team win. But yes, obviously being a striker, it's nice to get those goals to add to the performances. So yeah, it was a few games without one, so I'm delighted to get 2 today.
Do you feel that it gets noticed, what you're doing? Do people let you know that they appreciate the fact that you are putting in the yards that you're putting in?
Yeah, for sure. I think these days everyone sees the data and stuff and how hard I work. So yeah, people always tell me. So yeah, I'm thankful for everyone noticing. But yeah, like I said, getting the goals is always nice as well.
Dom, it must feel great because of the way the game had gone, and you know it's a bit stop-start, and you know Villa are spoiling it a little bit. To then we click into gear and do what we did in the second half. That must feel sweet when you're walking back down that tunnel.
Yeah, for sure, and I think games like today show what we can do. There's been some games like last weekend when we go a goal down and we don't quite manage to turn it around, which is frustrating because we know that we can. Yeah, but when we do like half-time today, we know everyone says that we can go out there and score 3-4 goals, and that's what we did.
And talking about feeling sweet, what about when you're through and you just clip that ball over Martinez, and it's almost like you've scored. It's almost like in slow motion. I'm thinking that would be a dream, wouldn't it? In front of 17,000 people in there, making it, just watching that ball float in, beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's sweet. It's a sweet feeling, especially those finishes. Like you said, it's almost slow motion. You know that's going in. You have like almost a second to watch it go in, and then the place are up. So yeah, it's great. Other than when they say they're drawing the lines after, and my heart's pounding, hoping I'm on side. But yeah, I'm actually on side. So yeah, it was great.
We're gonna watch the goals in a minute, Dom. But what did you think of the quality of the assists you had today, most notably from Dejan Kulusevski for the first goal?
Yeah, they were both set up perfectly, to be honest. Decky's having a great season. Know that he's got the quality to do that. So yeah, it was a good play from Brennan as well into Decky, and yeah, I trusted him to find me, and he found me perfectly and set it up. And yeah, second one, Richie. Well, Pape won the ball back really well, which we love doing as a team. He slipped in Richie, which he laid on the plate for me. Went off injured after that, so hopefully he's all right.
Are you exhausted, by the way? I mean, there was a point where you won the ball off Pau Torres at the end of the game. I was like, Tom's still going. Like, you just were not stopping. And you've played a lot of football recently.
Yeah, I think we got great staff here that get us ready for every game. The nutritionists, the sports science, they help us a lot. So thankful for them. They get us ready. The physios too. They all help get us ready and prepare for each game. So yeah, I get exhausted sometimes, but yeah, they make it easy for me to do as well as I can.
No, you want these games really, don't you, mate? It's better than training, isn't it?
Yeah, right? More games are better.
do you enjoy the hard work? I know it's a bit of a silly question, but given the amount of sprints you're putting in, do you get something back from it? Do you get enjoyment from that?
Yeah, I do, to be honest. Like I said, I love helping the team do what we can to win. So I think it's important, especially with the way the gaffer wants to play, to win the ball back high up and press. I think it's a given really to to work hard and obviously hopefully get the rewards like I did today.
Okay, Brennan's on his way, so we're going to speak to Brennan very shortly, but I need to know before he comes in, let us behind the curtain, what anime was it today?
Chainsaw Man.
Lovely stuff.
I know it.
Thank you so much, Tom. Well played.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Play Dom.
He's just a good person as well, and I think he just fits that profile of Ange Postecoglou, player and striker. I've already said like on the pitch what he can offer, but it's off the pitch as well, where you just know he is going to be fundamental. It's just that attitude that is really, really key. And you just got to look at his FB Rev stats as well to show how important of a player he can be. And you know, some of the strikers he's been compared to on FB Rev as well just shows you the company he can keep at the top level of the game. But moving on now, and some different opinions now. Obviously, on this channel, we know I use a lot of stuff from TalkSport. I work for them, so I just wanted to highlight some of the, you know, there was uncertainty at the time, wasn't there? So there's a few clips here about, you know, debating whether it was a gamble or not to sign Dominic Solanke.
Graham, what's your take on it? Can he fill what is a Kane-sized hole at Tottenham?
No. Hell of a lot of money for him, I think. Is it 65 million?
65 mil. Yeah.
You know, he's played, I think it's 112 games and got 28 goals.
Yeah, 55 initially, 10 million in add-ons.
And was it 19 last year? So he's not consistently scoring goals in the Premier League. And I think it's a bit of a gamble.
A gamble. So like a £65 million gamble.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised that Spurs have spent that kind of money on him. I mean, he scored a lot of goals in the Championship. Pretty much like the guy at Fulham, Mitrovic, that went up and couldn't score a goal in the Premier League, eventually found his feet and scored goals.
True.
Clearly, he liked playing for the manager at Bournemouth because previously, you know, he had scored 6 goals in 33 games. And statistics are the beginning of a conversation, not necessarily the end of it. And I like him as a player. I think he's a very gifted player.
He's an honest player.
And Graham would have liked him with his free season ticket at Bournemouth, going to watch him quite regularly. But I look at it and think, Spurs.
What is he on about?
Spurs. To me, I'd like to have seen Spurs gone for Ivan Toney, because I think that he would have done a better job than Solanke, but maybe there's economics around that deal. Postecoglou knows that he's got a job on his hands, and to spend £65 million on a player that has hit and missed a little bit.
He's not been consistent. In these years in the Premier League, he's not been consistent.
Do you like him as a player, though? You said honest.
I think he's honest. Yeah, but
does that mean he's okay?
I'm not sure if it's 65 million quid's worth of honesty.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big number.
It's a big number. And
is that where we've got to today?
Well, the thing is, I think in the past you've accused Daniel Levy of being unambitious. £65 million investment is ambitious.
I've not said ambitious. I think he's made mistakes. I mean, he's been extremely optimistic, Solanke, by saying we're going to win things together. When was the last time Spurs won a trophy?
Oh, it was a League Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose he's following into the narrative of Ange Postecoglou, who's saying he's come here to win things and isn't interested in being inside the top 4. He's interested in winning things. So he's following along in the narrative. I mean, the one thing you won't be able to argue in this respect is that Levy isn't showing a prerequisite amount of ambition. Have they sold a lot of players to be able to bring this cash up, or are they just backing their manager? And £65 million is a fair amount of change for
Postecoglou will be thinking
of that ilk.
He scored 19 goals last year in the Premier League. So he's coming to a better team with more creative players.
Yeah.
Run the front foot more, you'll get even more. But it doesn't always work like that. You know, Bournemouth not having so much of the ball, playing a bit of counter-attacking football, maybe that suited him, the way the Spaniard was playing last year. Now you go into a team where they're going to try and be on the front foot more and try to pin teams in and high up the pitch, which means the opposition are going to retreat a bit more, less room for him to operate in. Solanke. It doesn't always follow that you're going into a better team that's got more creative players.
Do you think technically, I watched him a few times last season. He goes with either foot, he can head a ball. He looks like he can do a lot of the things that you'd want a centre forward to do. I mean, you've watched him more than I would have done. Do you think technically he's a good enough player?
I gave up my season tickets because they became too expensive at Bournemouth.
Stop being given them.
But he's not been consistent. That's my worry.
Is that because he's
playing
for
one great
Bournemouth?
year? He had one. Well, I've just explained it. You're not listening
Graham,
to me. He's going to a better. Postecoglou will think he's going to a better team. We're going to create more chances for him, so he's bound to get more goals. But it doesn't work.
But
like
has
that.
he not been consistent because he's played in a Bournemouth side that has been up and down?
the way they were playing last year under the Spanish coach maybe suits them down to
That's my point. Yeah.
Slightly counter-attacking football, maybe that suits them. Let's see if it suits them at Spurs.
I mean, a £65 million deal,
a lot of money,
whatever way you look at it, Graham, it sends a message out there that Levy wants to do it for his manager and that Tottenham are in the market and will spend a big fee as and when they think it's appropriate. What's your take on it? Solanke, Tottenham.
I understand where Graham's coming from, to be honest. I mean, one season, brilliant, and looked really confident and showing the potential that everybody thought he had when he was at Chelsea and Liverpool and didn't quite make the grade. So hopefully it works. And I like Solanke. I love his work ethic. He's got good talent and variation in his game. But I do understand Graham's point. You know, it's a completely different way of playing when you're trying to dominate games and play a high press and that, you know, and really come up against sides, especially when Tottenham play at home, who will sit behind him. It will be different for him. But when you look at the market at the moment, and we talked about it earlier, you know, Atletico Madrid have just paid 85 for Alvarez. Solanke 65. It's
true.
You know, it's probably Bournemouth are in the rights to ask it. Although I am with Graham. It's a lot of money. It's a bit of a risk.
I was surprised at the price tag, Simon, I must admit. And I was surprised that Daniel bit at that price.
They need one. They need one.
They need a centre forward, don't they? And obviously they feel that whatever business they've done during the summer has brought in enough funds to justify taking the view of spending £65 million on a centre forward. It kind of is what it is. If you want a top centre forward to be able to kick you on to the next level, which is what Ange Postecoglou is alluding to, that's what you're going to have to pay.
Is he a top centre forward?
Not sure. I think he's done it. I think he's had a good season.
Brilliant season.
He had a good season in the Championship the previous year, the year before, or the year before that. And I think ultimately he hasn't set the world alight in the Premier League apart from last season. So he found a manager that set it up in a way that enables him to perform at a certain level, and he scored goals with all of it, with left foot, right foot, with headers. He's a decent player. Now the next step is to go from a club like Bournemouth, not Bournemouth.
Scottish people call it,
but it's not
Eyemouth.
Yeah, fine, but it's still
Bournemouth.
You can call it what you want, but it's actually Bournemouth.
Portsmouth.
But it's wrong.
Shut your mouth.
And succeed at Spurs. But he'll be playing with better players. He'll be playing with players like Maddison that can find him.
Absolutely.
And so I think he'll be all right. I think he'll get goals. Whether he gets enough goals for people to say, "Oh, that was £65 million well spent," is a different discussion.
Well, if he doesn't succeed, it won't be through lack of work.
It'll be Daniel's fault
because he works tremendously hard for the team, and he's a big lad as well, a good athlete. Yeah. I hope it works for him, and I hope it works for Tottenham. What will be really interesting, actually, I was talking to someone about this today. I think he took penalties for Bournemouth, which always helps a striker get his numbers up all over the world, of course. I wonder if when he went in there, he's had that conversation, because the first one I'd be having, and I know strikers always have that when they're moving.
Want to take the penalties?
Yeah.
Well, who is the Spurs penalty taker?
Son's taken a few, yeah.
Yeah, well, good luck with that conversation. The captain's already taken them.
Well, if I was Son, I'd give them to him.
I mean, he was a lot younger, but he scored one goal in 27 appearances at Liverpool.
Yeah, he was a young lad. I mean, look, he has flattered to deceive.
Yeah.
Flattered to deceive.
Yes, right.
That's right.
No, that's right.
Didn't sound right when it came out of my mouth.
Right. No, you've got it written
and
in front of you.
somebody as a young England international in the teenage ranks was highly thought of. I mean, he was a superstar kid. So it didn't quite go. The trajectory he's gone on has not been what he would have wanted or anybody expected.
Yeah.
And sometimes players take a while to find themselves. Whether the same relationship with the new manager, I would think he'll get a fair number of goals.
Okay,
in that team.
Postecoglou makes players better.
He
I
does,
think.
Yeah.
A question there from someone on Twitter. I think it's a Brentford fan. Does Tony stay with us, or does he go before the window closes? What's your take, briefly, from both of you? Does he go?
I've got a feeling they might keep him and take one on, take the loss and keep him, because the lad they've signed to replace him spent 30 million on's injured for months, isn't he? He's had a bad injury, Igor. So maybe they'll have to just no chance.
They weathered the storm without him when he was away for 8 or 9 months in the gambling situation.
That's true.
They will sell Tony unless someone takes the mickey and lowballs them,
right?
And it's not worth it.
What will he go for, do you think?
I think he'll go for similar money. I mean, the problem is with him, he's got delusions of grandeur about what he thinks he's going to get in his salary. But if he can get that under control, then they'll get the same sort of money that they got for
Solanke.
That's it.
Yeah. Reports that Tottenham are trying to move for Bournemouth striker Dominic Solanke. That makes sense?
Yeah, for the.
I know. Hang on, you're not sure.
I'm not sure. I think Solanke works better at somewhere, dare I say it, like an Arsenal, a team like that again, he has to be on the end of something. I think if you're going to spend 65 million, which is the reported fee, I would be expecting, if they can get him, to go for Tony
all day long, and I said it all week because of his movement and the way he holds the ball up.
And then
he's better than Solanke in that way.
And
he suits Ange's style.
Yeah, and also he'll have Son running in behind. Yeah. He lets Maddison come off the front
all day.
I just think if you're going to put 65, why not just test the waters with Brentford and go, there you go, just leave it on the table for a week.
Yeah.
But Dominic's good. He's somebody that's gone learn the hard way, but in terms of he was at Liverpool and then obviously come away. But I think whenever I watch Dominic, and I think he's a good player, I still don't see the killer in him. I know he scored a lot of goals. Yeah. I'm not saying that, but I don't go, it's everything for him to score a goal.
Yeah.
By the way, that wasn't me. I was a win first. I want to win. So if I don't score, I don't really care. But I want us to win. I think when you go to these elite level clubs, Harry, perfect example, Kane. If Harry Kane, if England lost 5-1 and he scored, in the back of his head, he's going, well, at least I did my job.
And I understand it because I've seen a few curators, sort of give their opinion about Solanke. Some, Ben Bowman's and the James Alcotts saw what he can offer. But I think it's always that risk factor. And a lot of people would argue that Spurs were never going to replace Harry Kane. But that's like, Barcelona trying to replace Messi or Real Madrid trying to replace Ronaldo. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it unless, these players are once in a generation. It's the same when Henry left Arsenal or, when Salah leaves Liverpool. You're not going to replace them. You can't phrase it like that. You just got to be like, Tottenham need a new striker, not Tottenham need a new Harry Kane. So that's what I believe, people got to stop that argument. And Solanke, he's coming into his own and he's shown that he can be Spurs' new number 9. I never doubted him. I never was worried. A lot of people, it was lazy punditry. It was lazy journalism. And it was also lazy opinion from football fans to say that Solanke doesn't do much. He's just a Mikel Antonio. They couldn't be further from the truth. But you're going to have to let me know in the comments down below. What do you make of Solanke? What did you make of him against Villa? How many goals can he score this season? That's the big question in all competitions. Let me know because I find that'll be quite interesting, the numbers that come up. But until next time, like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys pretty soon. I want to say a massive thank you, actually. Your support's been absolutely amazing. Really, really good. And I am just chuffed with, how well the videos have done, the subscribers have gone up, and my recent video about Roy Keane and Gary Neville has done really, really well. So I'm absolutely chuffed. So I appreciate the support.